remember a little while ago I said that work was probably pretty likely to pick up within the coming weeks. Yeah, that absence of about a week basically meant that with not a lot of games from my stream combined with a whopping week full of, probably like 10 hours of overtime somewhere in there, combined with, a bunch of other stuff going on in real life, as it usually tends to, means I didn't really have a lot of free time for streams or videos. I'm just now recording this on Saturday, but this is a game I actually had last week against a passerby, and I really still like passerby games a lot because, you can get your high points and you can get your low points. Your low points being, those teams that use like 4 Ubers or they think it's Battle Spot and they only bring 3 Mons. And your high points are actual straight up people that are looking for the same thing as you. They bring a team and then you bring a team and it's actually 6v6 singles, Smoke on standard. That's my cup of tea. That's what I go on there looking for. Shame there's not really a way to sort for it, but I mean, what can you do? So this team, I whipped this team together. I'm not sure if it's riddled with weaknesses or anything like that, but you know what I wanted to do? I wanted to use a Z Stockpile KOMALA that somebody gave me on stream, and Z Stockpile KOMALA is really interesting because of the fact that it cannot be statused in any way, shape, or form that really necessarily matters to it. Z Stockpile heals it back up to full. On top of that, you're sitting at +3/+3 once you get all your stockpiles up. You run bulk up and return, so that way you're at +6 attack, +6 defense, +3 special defense, and then on top of that, you still have access to Wish. And on top of that, the damn thing's just a menace. It's really, really awesome to see. So, I really wanted to use it, so I decided to bring a bunch of stuff that would support it, like hazards, and then this thing, this Magnezone, which, by the way, I did not actually predict this first turn going the way that it did. I really wanted to, but just to immediately aside to it, realistically, if you look at the Coco and then you look at my Landis, you're like, oh shit, you want to scout for the HP Ice, which I was doing. I switched to Magnezone because I wanted to scout the HP Ice, but on the other side, they're like, oh shit, I can't touch this thing because I don't have HP Ice, better go into Celestial so I don't take a lot of damage. And it turns out I actually make a really cool play, and I just immediately get rid of the one thing that KOMALA is going to have a lot of trouble with on turn 1. Like, immediately on turn 1. That was a double, and then it's gone at the end of turn 1, because, it can't switch out. So, this is where things kind of throw me for a little bit of a loop, because it turns out she's got her own stockpiler of her own, which we're seeing right now. But I figure, you know what? I'm still not scared of Snorlax yet. It's not that big a deal. I'm just going to get my rocks up. I'm going to scout out, see what else it's going to do. I'm seeing some stockpiling. Not that big a deal. I think we're still going to be okay, especially if I have to go into Dougie and Memento. Not something I necessarily want to do, but if I have to do it, I can. The battle is still very early, to the point where I still have a decent amount of control. Right there I knock off, and you see that I don't knock anything off, which is like, okay, well, this thing can't Mega, so it has to be Z-move. And it turns out it reveals the Z-move right now, but you see it restores HP, which means, okay, I'm not getting pancaked, but I am about to see a Z-Belly Drum, which, I feel like she probably could have gone for a regular Belly Drum there, and then maybe use this thing later. But the fact that she Z-Belly Drummed, she saw how much damage I was about to do, or she saw that I was a Stealth Rocker at least. So, after a couple of stockpiles, maybe could have assumed that she would have been in a decent amount of HP even after that, and wouldn't have necessarily had to have Z-Belly Drummed, because she, on top of that, also has Rest. But I see the reason to run Crunch over Body Slam or anything like that. You get pretty hard-walled by Rock and Steel types, and if there's a Ghost type on the opponent's team, you can't really do shit for it. So I used to have a set like this. It didn't have Belly Drum. It was actually, what was it? It was Rest Talk with Curse and Crunch, I think is what it was. So this is kind of a more offensive version of it, which I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like. I just think it was really early in the game to bring it in and try to do something with it, especially when I still got my full lineup. I've got Rocks up, and my Lando's still at about half HP. On top of that, I've already scouted out what the Z-move is, and I still have all 6 of my Pokemon. So, mission pretty much accomplished. I still have a +6 Snorlax to worry about, but now that I know what its only attacking move is, I should be okay. And so my next strategy here is, you know what? Let's fire off some Spec Psychics from Tapu Lele to see how much that ends up doing. It turns out, even after the stockpiles, it doesn't really do that much. And this is thanks to the fact that Snorlax just has a much naturally higher base special defense than regular defense, which explains why my Earthquakes from Landorus either did or will be doing. I forgot if I already went for one at this point. I think I went for one, and I might have gone for like a knockoff. I went for like everything I had and the kitchen sink with Landorus, and then as you can see, we're still sitting on this boat. Cool thing is I do get a special defense drop. I don't think it necessarily would have changed what I had done much there, since Psychic would have done a reasonable amount, and then from there, if I did not leave it at a range of HP where I didn't feel like Specs Magnezone's T-Bolt wasn't going to be able to knock it out at minus Or no, technically still +1, but I mean -1 from what it was at before. I probably would have Volt Switched out instead into Landorus and then just gone for some more Earthquakes. I feel like that could have handled. Then again, that could have changed the outcome of what happened here in terms of the Staraptor being here. You already know this thing's going to go for close combat. I've still got a Landorus. It's not Rocky Helmet, but it still switches in on it just fine. And I do think that this is probably, anytime I see Staraptor, it's either Banded or Scarfed. It's rare for it to actually be like a Z move or Life Orb or, you know, lefties or anything interesting like that. Although Life Orb Staraptor sounds like some freaking heat, let me tell you. If it wasn't for all the recoil, I feel like that would potentially be a good idea. But there's not really a lot you can do with a... I think I tried a Life Orb Staraptor back in the day, and it ended up being like an Arcanine. It just put itself out real freaking fast. But let me tell you, it's a nuke, and it's a little bit faster, so... It looks like a decent idea on paper, but it's actually kind of terrible. Maybe I could figure out something for it. I don't know. But we see Slowbro come in next. And the other thing I ended up going for here is because, you know, in case the Staraptor actually does happen to be choiced, I figure I might as well knock off and then see what wants to come in to take the knockoff. Turns out, I don't knock anything off on this either, so Mega. Definitely Mega. The reason we don't see it, at least the reason I'm immediately thinking, is because she's waiting for a good time to go for it, so that way she doesn't have to rely on Regenerator, and then when she sits in and starts setting up, she can. But you know what? I've got my own stockpiler here. This is, welcome to my third freaking KOMALA on this channel, and this is the little dude that I was talking about at the beginning of the video. And let me tell you, it doesn't do as much work in this video as I'd like it to in terms of actually pushing over Pokemon, but in terms of its survivability in the face of things that would otherwise wear it down, yeah, it's pretty great. I'm faster than it, and I see no reason not to immediately start setting up, especially because, you know, Calm Mind, slack off, whatever, that's fine. I can stockpile up a shit ton and get to the point where I can either Z-stockpile or I can Wish, either or. I'm not really that scared of it, especially because I can keep boosting up my defenses. I think she gets to the point where she tries to Scald Burn me here, or maybe that is her main attack. I think we see Calm Mind, Scald, slack off. I don't think we ever actually saw or end up seeing a fourth move, but I think she's probably just sitting there wondering, like, why the fuck am I not getting any Scald Burns or something? At least I would hope. I kind of hope and do not hope that that was the case. I do hope that was the case because let's make it these free setup turns. As you can see, Scald really doesn't do shit. And then I also kind of hope that wasn't the case because this is KOMALA's exclusive ability where nothing can happen to it except for being put to sleep. So I figure, you know what? If I have the opportunity to, I'm just gonna go for it, and that's all I'm doing. So if there's anything that can set up on a Slowbro, at least what is supposed to be a Mega Slowbro, it's probably gonna be this. I'm thinking the fourth move is probably Psyshock or Psychic, but not really too much of an option right there. Now, right here, the Empoleon comes in. I think the main reason for the Empoleon coming in is A, to kind of resist the return, even though it does a shit ton after 2 bulk ups. If I had like a layer spike, I think I would have been pretty good there. But it turns out I was really close to going for Z stockpile here too, and I ended up just going for a regular stockpile because I wanted to see if I could just cap out at 3. And on the off chance if it had Roar, I did not waste my Z stockpile, which as you can see, it did have Roar. This is fine. I still have a perfectly good KOMALA with my Z move still intact. And on top of that, she roars me out into Magnezone. Oh lord, this is a series of unfortunate events. Both of her steel types actually just ended up getting completely trapped by this thing, and both of her steel types were actually very weak to Magnezone in that they were super effective against him. They're powerless to a Specs T-Bolt is basically what I'm saying. A third of her team went down on accident to Magnezone, which, you know what? I know that I realized that the start of the show was supposed to be KOMALA, but sometimes you just trip and you win $50,000, and that's what happens with this Magnezone, I guess. That's a Timid Specs one, by the way. I'm not sure if it's really necessarily relevant, but you know, we've already seen this switch here, Staraptor versus Landorus. I'm not scared of Staraptor as long as I'm at above half HP. She decides to predict this, goes for Double Edge. Pretty good play on my opponent's part. I'm still not really too scared of it because ultimately I learn A, that she's more than likely locked on Double Edge. B, she's at -1. C, after she knocks me out, I get a safe switch into whatever I want that is pretty much going to reliably be able to take Double Edge, which is going to end up being Magnezone. So I'm not really that worried about it whatsoever. And I think after this, it ends up being that she cannot switch in on Stealth Rock and has no spinners or defoggers that I'm immediately aware of at the moment. Let's take a quick look at the team preview real quick. No, there's no defoggers that I know of. But Tapu Koko is going to come in and actually help out my Thunderbolt here. And for what I know about Tapu Koko, at least so far, the only thing can really hit me with for decent damage is Nature's Madness and maybe a Specs or Life Orb T-Bolt. As you can see, my Volt Switch does over half to it, and I think I have a little bit better natural bulk than Koko does. So, on top of that, I still get my speed boost, or not my speed boost, I get my initiative here, and I get to go into Mega Beedrill, who, hey, guess what? This is another, I'm not going to say star of the show, but everybody got a chance to play on the team. So, we had Lele, who kind of lowered the special defense of the Snorlax. We have Beedrill, who's guaranteed a free kill right here. We had Magnezone, which put in the business. We had Landorus, which essentially Staraptor, kind of scattered out Snorlax for me. Got Rocks Up, which were pretty damn important. We had KOMALA, which, you know, kind of fucked around with the Slowbro a little bit, and I think will continue to do so. But I think here, what do I go for? I think I just go for U-turn, and I decide to U-turn into, oh shit. That's a lot of damage. I thought that was honestly going to kill. But it turns out I actually just end up switching out into Dugtrio right now because it's like, well, you know what? I want a Memento, and then I want to go into KOMALA again. But it turns out she goes for Calm Mind. I'm not sure why she went for Calm Mind instead of Slack Off, because it's really obvious I'm going for a bug move with Mega Beedrill. And she realizes at that point it's pretty hopeless, so she decides to scoop because I would be able to kill off her Slowbro, and then I'm assuming her Tapu Koko doesn't have anything to hit Dugtrio with. Or maybe she just got sick of me. I really couldn't tell you. But that's the game. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, you can leave a like rating, comment, subscribe, do your thing. You guys know how that goes. Sorry I haven't uploaded in a little bit. It's been pretty busy on my end, and I try to prioritize, and more often than not, YouTube ends up falling behind since I like streaming a little bit more, but I do still like mirroring a lot of the videos from the stream onto YouTube, so that's how that goes. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this video. I'm not sure when my next one's coming. I'm gonna try to do at least one a week now. I know I said 2 a week, but this was when work was really not beating down on me that hard, so 1 a week I think would be ideal. Something a week, you know? Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one.